did this start? When was it? When did
It started back in 2008. But thank you, Mr. President, for this great announcement, and thank you so much for your awesome leadership in giving back to American Samoa what had been taken away from us without even consulting with our leaders and people at that time.
You mean they just one day just took away 3 Californias?
Yes, and so this is such a wonderful gift to American Samoa, and of course it's also Holy Week beginning today, and so thank you for returning to our indigenous people this wonderful gift of our traditional fishing grounds.
It's such an honor to do this. You know, normally I say things and it's nice and everything's good. You get more water in the shower head and things like that. But this is such an honor. What they've done to you people is incredible. It's like, it's so terrible. Well, you have to travel 4 days in a boat to fish. And it's usually 7 days, I was told before, but 4 days to 7 days in order to fish. And you were there a long time before we were, right?
Yes, yes, for centuries.
Like I would say, yeah, thousands of years, I was going to say.
Mr. President,
Please.
you have another fishery in the Pacific Ocean. This is the Persane fishery that fishes for canned tuna, and then the fishery in Hawaii fishes for fresh tuna. And so there are 150 vessels. And you're opening up Johnston Island, which is very close to Hawaii, makes it a lot easier for them to fish.
Even Hawaii, so even Hawaii's.
Well, yes, of course. You're helping the entire fleet, and most of our fish are sold on the mainland. We also fish for swordfish, and when we have too many regulations for our swordfish fishery, you get swordfish from Peru, Brazil, and all those other places that don't have the same management measures that we have in the United States. So we are very grateful in Hawaii for this, the fishermen, and it's fantastic.
So what's the difference? You say canned tuna.
Right, you have 2 different U.S. fisheries there.
Yeah, but the same tuna.
Different. No, that's skipjack, albacore, and yellowfin, and then
So albacore is canned tuna, right?
right.
I know that from.
You've seen the can. So yeah. So our fishery fishes for the sashimi quality fish. So it's all fresh. It's an ice fishery, and it's been around since it started in the early 1900s. And
Well, it's been around for millions of years.
right, exactly.
Long before us.
Right, exactly.
That's great.
So, that's where you're getting your sashimi and your swordfish from. Most of the swordfish that you eat on the mainland comes from our fishery.
You know, they shut down also areas off Maine, you know, the Maine lobster.
Oh, yes,
And I think we're going to have to open that one up really quickly, too. But we did it, and then after the election, which was totally rigged, they went out and they put it back again.
We'll have that for you next
And it was like 500 square miles or some ridiculous thing like that. And Canada fishes there, but we're not allowed to. Can you imagine? They restricted it, but Canada fishes there. Please.
Mr. President, this is such a great honor. Today in American Samoa, we're celebrating the 125th Flag Day. It's the first day celebrating when the U.S. flag was first raised there. This very moment, they're celebrating that. So this is a monumental occasion for the people of American Samoa, and we are truly.
So this is a big thing that's
This
going
is
on right now.
because we're a tuna-dependent economy. 99.5% of our exports is tuna.
99.5%?
Yeah.
Well, what about the other half?
And then about 80% of our private employment is related to the
That's
tuna
unbelievable.
industry. So yes, this is a big thing for the territory.
So
what
one
is-
industry economy.
Right, what's this going to do in terms, it's so interesting to me, it's so horrible and so stupid. It's so stupid. We're talking about a massive ocean, and they're forced to travel 4 to 7 days to go and fish in an area that's not as good and is probably a little more dangerous, the whole thing. So how is this going to affect your business? It's going to be many more, I mean, you're going to be able to do much more business, I would think, right?
Yes, we would think that this will definitely result in more fish deliveries, and more fish deliveries is more economic gains for the territory.
Tell us what happens when you say China and other people steal your fish. In other words, you're forced to go to areas that are very dangerous.
Well, because of the monuments and overlays of sanctuaries, our fishermen mostly fish on the high seas. And if you look at Global Watch, you will see China, Japan, Korea, and Taiwan, all fishing on our very edge of the 200-mile zone. So our fishing, we're in competition with them. And also, you know, their dumping of their fish on U.S. markets lowers the price for our fishermen. And that's another difficult thing that we hope you'll take care of soon.
And what about the stealing of your fish?
Well, you're competing with tuna in a very competitive market, right? So they're camped right outside, like you said, they're camped right outside our EEZ.
And what happens?
And they're taking our fish because it's migratory. Tuna is migratory.
Because we
They
can't
don't-
fish in our zone, the fish goes to whoever.
And they come in in the dead of night. Most
Yes, they do.
They come in, they take the
steal.
fish.
Yeah, that's a common, well-documented problem.
Does anybody, I mean, it's so interesting.
It's-
Even you have to find this one interesting.
Yes.
So by doing this, we're going to give you back your lives. And you've been doing this for thousands of years in this area. And then
Absolutely.
along comes Biden and Obama, and they say you can't do it anymore, right?
This is fish, baby fish.
Yeah. So
That's right.
what's the level of and this is a risky question, but what's the level of popularity of Trump on Samoa versus the Democrats?
77%.
For
Poll
Trump?
shows for Trump. Yes,
Wow.
that's right. 77%.
Probably going to 90 tomorrow.
Yes, go up to 100.
100.
Maybe 100.
Well, it's an honor. I'm not doing it for that. I'm doing it because it's just an honor. Here's one of the boats in there. Look how beautiful that is down. They use it for a beautiful cruise that takes 7 days before they can do the first fish. Can you believe it? So now you'll be able to do it like almost immediately, right?
We get much closer, absolutely. So if the fish is there, we can make more trips and deploy more people.
Do you know through sonar, radar, everything, do you know where the fish are? I mean, can you see that?
You get educated guesses, so you get all kinds of different reports, plankton and all kinds of stuff, and they can.
It's a beautiful life. You wouldn't choose any other life, right?
It's a very unique life. I love what I do. I really do.
I mean, if you could have a life like some beautiful leisurely life in Washington, D.C., where you get mugged when you go to work, but other than that, you love politics. If you could live in the White House, you'd take exactly what
Might take it under consideration.
All right, let's do this, right? That's an honor. You've seen that signature, and I don't use auto pen. You know, like Biden. Biden uses auto pen. I think we ought to-
Wafa'afitai, wafa'afitai, wamani mata'evai, watasilavaoi, ilone fa'amoe moe.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you so much.
You hold that. And what is the second one, please?
We have one more also relating to fisheries, sir. This is an executive order on seafood competitiveness. Currently, we have two basic problems here. One is that the American seafood industry is dramatically overregulated. Our fisheries are dramatically overregulated. The other is that we have unfair trade practices from our foreign trading partners relating to the seafood industry. So this executive order is going to attempt to address both of those. The Department of Commerce, other federal departments and agencies are going to work with the fisheries to establish common sense regulatory reforms.
How long will that take?
I think we're expecting to move as quickly as we can. Yes, sir.
You know what I mean, you know exactly what we're talking about already, right? It's crazy, the regulation.
It is.
Secretary Lutnick is going to fast track that, I can assure you.
Howard, please, go ahead.
Sure. So you just heard us, the economic zone around Hawaii and Samoa is huge, and it's exclusively ours. So why wouldn't we have our fishermen fish there? I mean, imagine saying our own fishermen, every country in the world, they all fish the 200 miles off their coast, and we were stopping our own fishermen from going off the coast. It's totally the opposite of common sense. That's why President Trump has changed it. Now let's talk about regulation. If you're not even going to let them fish, imagine the regulations that have been written to stop our fishermen from just surviving and thriving. We have the greatest coasts in the world with the greatest fishermen in the world, and we need to let them do their great jobs, raise and capture fish, bring them to our tables, have America have the greatest fish in the world, which we have, and then let them export all these other countries, right? They stop us from exporting. That's going to be over with your leadership and your trading policies. We're going to open all of these markets, and we're going to let our fishermen thrive and prosper, and we are going to have lower cost fish, more of it, and the freshest fish in the world. And this is just common sense for the United States of America.
So could I ask, it's so interesting. So you take these massive areas of water, and other countries are allowed to fish in them, right?
No.
They sneak in, they poach. They
So
come
they're not
in,
allowed, but they do it because they don't care.
They fish in their own zones, sir.
Yeah.
So we're systematically disadvantaging our fishermen by not allowing them to fish in parts of our exclusive economic zone, while other countries have their own exclusive economic zones, and they're fishing the heck out of those.
So they're totally benefiting.
Now that you're allowing the U.S. fishing fleet to fish, they also serve as observers. And when they see poachers, they report them to the authorities. And so they are a big help to the U.S. Coast Guard.
Right.
And so it's great for our U.S. food security.
I mean, we should have a trade surplus in fish, and we have a big trade deficit.
It's crazy.
Because of all this. It's just crazy. Doesn't,
Okay.
familiar.
This is an easy one.
Very easy.
Fish.
Hi, Mom. This is an easy one. This is crazy, huh?
Well, 80% of the seafood in the U.S. is imported.
Can you imagine that? We import seafood, and we have the greatest coast
So
of
what?
fishing in the world.
Okay, so in Maine, they do something similar. I think it's like 500 miles or something, some crazy thing. And Canada goes and they fish there, other people fish there, Europe fishes there. The Maine lobster. You can't get Maine lobsters because so Maine's forced to go for days out to some other area that's not as good. We have to free that up too.
We'll have that on your desk next week, I promise.
The Maine lobster, right?
Yeah.
It's incredible.
You did it
Think
last
of it.
time, and they undid it.
Canada fishes there.
Biden undid
No, we're
it.
not allowed to, yeah. I did it last time in Maine, and they undid it. That's why we have to stay president for a long time. Okay. Thank you, everybody. What an honor. It's a great honor. Thank you.